everyone, welcome to another Classic Movie Monday, and today I thought it would be interesting to briefly address a musical that is also a comedy, or I guess what they would call a comedy musical, and that is Singing in the Rain, as you can see by the title. Now, the interesting thing about Singing in the Rain is that it's probably well recognized for its title and for that signature song, Singing in the Rain. It's even been done in other films, in particular most noteworthy probably in The Clockwork Orange, where it was used in a completely different context than what the original Singing in the Rain was used for, but at the same time I still find it to be one of those standout musicals that has that standout film to tie along with it. And I think that there are a lot of factors that result in it being this kind of classic musical. And I'll sort of go over my reasonings and the sort of plot that this film tries to set up for us. So basically, the plot revolves around our main character, Dawn Lockwood, who is a popular silent film star. So I guess they do try to emphasize that it takes place during the 1920s, when we're slowly starting to see the transition to talkies. Basically, he has to transfer ultimately to the talkie mode, or basically the talkie style. And this is really where the plot sets itself up, and you sort of see him try to make it within that industry so that he can stay alive as a performer. This ultimately ends up leading him to, again, eventually meet various characters. And then it basically sets up the sort of lead plot for the story, and all of it is sort of revealed to you as you watch the film. So it's sort of hard for me to talk about this film with, again, not giving things away. I think that it does a good job of setting up hoops, and I like how it sort of sets things behind the scenes into sort of, making a musical or making a film, that kind of look, I think, really works to the film's advantage and makes it fairly entertaining to watch. It has a lot of good little comedic bits here and there. The songs, although Singing in the Rain probably is the most noted, I think are still fun for what it's trying to ultimately present. And I think people like the fact that it is fairly upbeat, and it does have a lot of dramatic moments, but also has a lot of fun, genuine, happy moments. So I think that's why I think it captured a lot of audiences. You'll see how love ends up blossoming, and the certain things that end up resulting in maybe creating a more positive outcome for the protagonists, while at the same time creating a sense of struggle for the protagonists. And even though there's no ultimate, really necessarily villain to this story, it is played into the idea that this person is sort of a burden to the whole project that Don tries to set up as he transfers into the talkie medium. So that's really at the heart of the film, and you'll see how that talkie aspect plays a really big role in how ultimately certain things get very complicated, and you see how ultimately people are sort of divided, and then they end up coming back together, and there's sort of a triumph at certain points, and then there's also some discouragement that happens to other characters at certain points. So there's a lot to this story, even though it might not sound like I'm saying that there's a lot to it, because there's just little bits and things that end up happening, and I think that's why people enjoy this film in particular is because even though it's not a big, grandiose kind of story, it's still a story that's a fairly identifiable and sort of down to earth and sort of reflects what people were sort of going through in the time period within the entertainment industry. So I think that's why a lot of people within the entertainment industry enjoy it and consider it to be worthy of recommendation. Uh, and again, the whole scene where he's, singing in the rain and having this sort of joyous moment is very satisfying and very uh, sort of loving and just, it sort of takes you away and does what Singing in the Rain as a musical sort of is supposed to do, like a lot of musicals do. Um, Even though it has been parodied over the years, I'd still say that the scene in itself still stands out. I actually prefer it over the Clockwork Orange scene, because even though the Clockwork Orange ooh is like, ooh, we'll use this for irony, I still think the original still um, has this sense of heart and whimsy that a lot of musicals do have. And I think that's what has made this musical sort of stand out. It was one of the first sort of more upbeat, I guess you could say, out of a lot of other musicals that I think actually executes itself fairly well compared to ones that have tried to sort of capture that same charm. So I think, though, that's really ultimately all I can say without giving anything away. Again, everything is sort of within the plot sort of revealed as you watch it. So I don't really want to give ultimately what ends up happening away because there's little detours that go on. And then characters are introduced, and then you see the conflicts and all that stuff. And I really don't want to spoil that for anybody who has not seen the film. So if you enjoy those kinds of things, if you like those kinds of more traditional sort of Broadway, musicals, then I think this is definitely one that is one of the better ones, and I think is one of the ones that has stood out over the years, and people have really considered to be one of the more classic musicals out there that has been put into film. Um, and I think I almost want to say that it did start out as a film before it was featured on Broadway, though I could be wrong about that. It's just I remember when I was doing research that the film was the first thing to come up, so I'm not sure if it started out as a film and then they would make it later on into a musical and put it on stage, but it seems to be one of the more noted musicals, sort of similar to The Wizard of Oz for being noted for being a good uh, sort of upbeat musical with little hints of drama within there. But ultimately, I think that's really all I can say. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.